Indiana hasn't won back-to-back games since January 8th, but they need to if they want to make the NCAA tournament. And suddenly that's a very real proposition for this team after winning two of the last three, beating Michigan State and Purdue. This is another Assembly Hall home game for the Hoosiers. They're taking on Penn State, who, as we speak, is the second worst team in the Big Ten standings. But they've won two straight games. They beat Nebraska, then they went to the barn and beat Minnesota over the weekend. We believed in this Penn State team early in the season, as did a lot of people. When they beat Purdue, they got a lot of hype for potentially being an NCAA tournament team. It was a Big Ten season from hell after that. They went 1-11 in their next 12 conference games. But maybe they've righted the ship here, and it's hard to know which version of Indiana you're going to get. So, Cart, point blank, Indiana has a lot to play for. How do you think they're going to handle that at home against an objectively bad basketball team in Penn State?
I think they're going to handle it well. I have finally come around to the fact that this Indiana team might be okay.
This is big for you.
Yeah, I don't think they're bad. Like I've come on here and been like they're terrible. This is a fake run. This, that, and the third. I think they've actually found something that makes them a respectable, okay basketball team. And at home against Penn State, who I think is a bad basketball team, I think Indiana handles business. Um, Also, sorry to the Hoosiers fans, because I've done this. There's a good chance Penn State wins by 13.
It does feel like moments where you're supposed to trust Indiana have been moments where they let you down. Like they had beaten Penn State and USC and Rutgers back to back to back back in January, and we're feeling them. Then they go to Iowa and lose by 25. And then you're like, okay, they're going to bounce back. Inspired play at home against Illinois, lose by 25. They go on the road and beat Ohio State. You're like, okay, they found something. Lose to Northwestern by 9. Anytime you're supposed to believe in this team, they go the opposite way. Anytime you're supposed to give up on this team, they go the opposite way.
That was BWF.
That was before Woodson fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So
like the great disciples of the world. Some of them were not great pre-BC. After BC though, like they became special.
you know what it is? It's Indiana AF. I'm in
After
on
firing,
Indiana AF. I'm in on Indiana after firing.
yeah, and also like now they're kind of okay as compliant.
Yeah, I feel like we could make Indiana AF shirts and probably make a killing on this. Call our line upstairs pub.
Yeah, we're with y'all.
Yeah. So, okay. So we think Indiana's like a legitimate team to take seriously now. Is part of that just because they're playing guys who care?
Let's not throw legitimate words around. Let's not throw that.
Okay, but you like noteworthy. Like you're like, yeah, they're okay. They're an okay basketball team.
They can
Uh
they can sit at the table.
they can sit at the table. Is that just because they have a couple guys that care in the lineup now?
Yes.
So I've said this even throughout this little resurgence. There's no team in the country that's harder to know who's going to play and who's not than Indiana. Is Mackenzie and Baco going to play in this game? Is Umar Ballo going to play? Are those guys going to start?
I think Woody's been pulling the right strings lately. I think he's going to identify what is working best and what is kind of playing. And the one thing that people have been quiet about because people love to joke at Woodson's expense, talking about people. We're all looking for the guy that's responsible for this, Carter. Um, he has been a pretty good adjustment coach lately. I think he's made the right moves, the right pivots, and what he's done, and they've worked out in his advantage. So, if he does play M'Bako a lot, then I think it's worthy of it, and he's doing the right thing. If not, then I think it's also the right play. I feel like Woodson's pretty dialed in on his own team right now. I feel like he finally figured out who they are.
So what you're saying is basically we as watchers of this just need to trust Mike Woodson and whatever he does will be what's best for this basketball team. Could you say those words out loud for me?
I rather not.
Go ahead and say them out loud.
I think at this point, post AF, you should trust Mike Woodson and pulling the right strings.
This is crazy for you. Is this the new ring light? Is this what this
Yeah,
is?
it is kind of beating down on me.
Yeah, you see the light officially,
I
literally.
also have a theory though that this has nothing to do with Woodson. Hold on, one flip is ooh, nah, G, Penn
What?
State. It was always Penn State.
Why?
You know what this was?
What?
It was cold in the 10. It was cold in the 10. We stayed indoors. The sun's starting to peak in the 10. It's probably darty season.
Uh-oh,
We're
that's
not freezing
scary.
anymore. We're okay with waiting out. We're okay with going to the bars. It's
But
nice.
but Anthony Leal and Luke Goody probably aren't there. And those guys are playing big minutes.
Playing the guys that don't attend the bar.
Like the hungover crew can show up and be hungover on the bench and just be good vibes, guys.
Yeah, just be like, oh, good damn, they smell like lick.
Yeah, let it go. It's fine. Uh, the first time that Indiana played Penn State, do you remember what happened?
Indiana was Indiana up big and they blew it, or Penn State up big they blew it. One way or the other.
Indiana won this game. Nobody blew it. I don't
No
know
one
where
blew
that's
it.
coming from. Nobody blew it. Indiana was up by as many as 16 points, ended up only winning by six. But
Yeah,
Indiana
so
in
they
the
blew. So they blew it.
they won in the Palestra. They beat Penn State pretty much wire to wire.
Sorry, I forgot you're a big Palestra guy.
In that, well, I mean, such a hard place to play, Penn State, compared to, I'm trying to
Did
do the
Martelli coach
math.
that game?
He did not coach that game. Stop bringing up bad memories from my bad basketball team that wasn't competing for titles.
Sorry.
Um, in that game, Umar Ballo had 25 and 13 in 33 minutes. Mackenzie Mbako had 20 in 31 minutes. Those guys also like destroyed Purdue in Mackey, and then they came to Assembly Hall to play Purdue, and like Ballo and Mbako were benched, and they went to completely different guys. So, what do you think is going to happen with these two? Clearly, Ballo is too much for Penn State's bigs to deal with. Mbako is a guy who's capable of torching the Penn State wings. Is Woodson going to try and play through those two, or is he going to do what he's done in recent games and basically push them aside?
No, I think that he should make it a key to use those guys to dominate because for as good as my dog Yannick is, I've been a big Yannick Niederhauser fan. Um, I think that the one thing that goes against him, and I'm gonna try out my Swiss here, Luzakula is how I would describe Mr. Niederhauser. He's a great athlete, semi-light in the ass. He's a little bit of a slimmer figure. Umar Ballo is a massive human being, and one way to get rid of shot blocking is to put that Ballo backside on him, and you ain't blocking any shots if you're gonna have that body in between you. So I do think that there is areas they can exploit. I think they can get shots down low. Also, Malik Renew's been really good too. I feel like that's been a big part of what they've done lately. I feel like he has played the best basketball he's played all year after Indiana was looking good without him out of the lineup. I think he's picking his spots really well and maybe not playing as major minutes as he was before he got injured. And look, despite what we think about Mackenzie Mbako, he's also the best wing that's going to be playing in this basketball game. And Kern or Hicks cannot check that man.
Yeah. So if Woodson goes the other route, because that's what I think is going to happen, does that mean advantage Penn State?
What you mean other route like not playing those guys?
It means like Anthony Leal and Luke Goody play 30 minutes each. Mbako plays 9 minutes.
I'm still going to Indiana.
So it doesn't matter what personnel Indiana goes here. You're going to take the home team.
I'll take Michael.
Michael Rhodes.
Michael Woodson, my owner.
Wow, I don't know what to do. I'm worried about you. Do you want to just get to predictions?
I wonder what Jalen Harrelson's doing right now.
Let's get to predictions. Ken Palm has Indiana by 5 at home. Laying 5 points with Indiana will always terrify me. What are you going with?
I'm gonna go Penn State to cover.
Okay, so all that you're going to trust Mike Woodson, but Penn State's going to keep it close.
Yeah.
I can't shake it either. I'm going to blindly take 5 points. Anytime you're supposed to trust Indiana, I feel like it falls apart. So I hope Indiana proves us wrong because I've been on record. There's nothing I want more than the stretch run of this season to include like a Woodson legacy run that makes everyone uncomfortable. I
You
think
know
that
you're
would
the
be
only one who wants that, right?
yeah, that's why I want it. I'm a chaos agent, Cart. Like I think even Indiana fans would be annoyed if Woodson like makes a Sweet 16. Which would be hilarious, right? Imagine Indiana fans making it further in the postseason than they have in decades, and they're upset about
They're
it.
just livid. They're at the Final Four, just pissed.
Dog, it would be the funniest thing that's happened in college sports since I've worked in it. Like, Indiana fans literally annoyed that their team's in a Final Four. I want to see that happen.
And they have like what you know how like Coach K in his last game, like he rode out on the golf cart and with like his wife, just like Woody riding out on the golf cart, just knowing it's his last game.
Yeah, it would be spectacular. So I truly am rooting for it, but I'm not expecting it.
You're a
So
psycho.
give me Penn State.